Here I am, Leon C., aka Morpheus, and you are now listening to the Academy of Wow Men. And here today, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and give you my disclaimer, because this is going to be a very good one. At least, I think it will be. I anticipate that it's going to be a good one. I do not promote violence, hatred, anger, and I don't promote attacking anyone of any belief or any gender or any ideas either. Because it's their choice. Whatever that you choose to do, think, or to operate is on you. I am simply a messenger, not a hater. I discuss the subjects, not the particular people. But if I bring up the particular people, it's about the subjects of the particular people, not their personal lives, because I don't talk about people's personal lives on here. That's between you and the universe. So now that that's out of the way, I'm going to have a very, not me, deep discussion. You already see the title there. As you know, I've been taking off every now and then for two reasons. For one reason is I have a life to live, and I spend time with my companions. As you know, I have 3 companions. They're very beautiful, wonderful girls after my own heart. And they've been supporting me. They've been quite well and dutiful, and I would say they've been a value in my life. So every now and then is good. But the other half, besides that, is y'all don't donate. You don't donate, I don't care. You don't support the channel, I don't care. You know, you don't give back as I'm giving to you this free, good, wonderful information. Well, guess what? I'll give you what you want. I understand usually you have to starve the monster to get the monster to pretty much disappear or to go away. So if you consider me to be a monster, I'll go away gladly. I don't care. It don't matter to me. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to like. You don't have to donate to my Patreon. You don't have to buy the book that I've made and written. It's been there for a while. It's called 2020's America Rise or Fall Hard. It's kind of funny. Now that we're on that subject, let me go ahead and throw this in here really quickly. It's kind of amazing that everything that have happened in the past few years is what I've written about. I knew it was going to happen. You know, the things that were going on with your previous president, I've talked about that. I've talked about the how China and other countries have their eyes on the U.S., the United States, and they're watching our foolishness. I've explained to you about the rising problems in the female anatomy in her body and what's going to happen in the coming future, but that future is here, and I didn't think it was going to be so real. Not to say that I do not have any confidence in my writings and my knowledge. No. What I mean is, it's a little bit more real than what I expected, worse than what I have expected. So my book covers the basics, and it also describes the very beginning of what we are dealing with now. And it's amazing how it's been out for a long time, but yet you don't want to purchase, you don't want to read, you don't want to expand it. So you know what? I don't care. It don't matter to me. You know, we make choices, just like what I'm getting ready to talk about now, which is a segue into the conversation that we're having today. See, we make choices. We have a free will to think or not to think. See, we've heard this before when it comes to religion. And it's this. The greatest trick that the devil ever done is to convince the world that it doesn't exist. Now, however, I want you to keep that right there as a tab, because everything that I'm going to say in the first few minutes of this conversation, of this lesson, you're going to need this. I need you to hold on to this because it's going to become a revealing factor in the remaining conversations that we're going to have. The greatest trick that the devil ever made or created or have done or have produced is to convince the world that it doesn't exist. And a lot of people have an invincible picture of what the devil is. A lot of people have a misconstrued or missed a perception that has been programmed in their mind about what the devil is. But remember, hold that thought so we can continue forward. Now, let's bring us back to childhood for a moment here, because I'm going to explain something to you. This thing about sin. Okay? Got somebody chimed in here a little bit here. Well, he's starting in already. Hold on here. Okay, so you have a child and you have an adult, which is the parent, right? And what happens is the child goes outside and plays, try to climb the tree and just do all the kiddie things that kids do, right? And what happens is this child is walking around with let's just say a scar on their knee, and it's bleeding, but the child don't know it because the child is full of adrenaline. The child is living its life, enjoying itself. Everything is fine, right? And so the child goes inside the house being called in by the parent. Then the father evaluates the child. Hey, you need to go in there, wash up, change your clothes. And, oh, wait a minute, what's this going on? You got blood on your knees. All of a sudden, the child looks down and realizes that its knee or its skin has been broken. Needs a Band-Aid, need to be clean, need to, antiseptic, need to be sanitized. Then, of course, the father cleans the wound, put a Band-Aid on and say, okay, just be careful next time. It'll heal. Keep it moving. But the whole key of the matter is, yes, in this world, you're going to have to realize that you're bleeding because you don't want infections. I get that. We understand that. We're not dumb over here. There's nobody stupid talking to you. Maybe the majority of you that listen, but not over here. Okay? But the child had to realize, as a matter of fact, the child didn't know until the father said, hey, you got a cut on your knee. Then the child looked down and said, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know that was there. I'm bleeding. I didn't know. And as a matter of fact, the father didn't know until the father evaluated the child's leg or seen it. Other than that, the father was just in the kitchen or walking around the house with a coffee mug or a beer or something like that and just, doing his thing. Watching TV, vacuuming, whatever you need to do in the house or outside on his motorcycle, something like that. But the key of the matter is there is a thing called awareness. It wasn't there. It wasn't existent until it was brought to the attention of the dad and the child. Now, it may seem like a very bad example, but I have to bring this to you because I have another thing on the other side of it. Okay? That the realization that there is a problem or something there is what has this thing called causation, cause and effect. Okay? That's just like a person who, here it is, don't realize that they are sick. They don't know that they're sick. They don't know that there's something wrong with their body. They don't understand that there's a rising issue. But until they go to the hospital or the doctor and the doctor realizes there's a tumor over here or you have this clogged artery or you have this that's going on with yourself, the person is usually unaware on and often. Now, these are realistic things that need to be paid attention to. All right? I'm not saying that they're not important. But what I am bringing you to attention to is this. Like a diabetic that didn't know what stages of diabetic that they're in. They didn't realize how far gone that they was. It had to be brought to their attention. Now, besides the emergency of being a human being, let's talk spiritually or by the church itself. what they have to do to you in order for you to agree. Now follow me here. You have to be brought into awareness that you need help in order for you to think that you need help. But in this case, again, like I told you, it's not true. Yes, if your knees are cut, the child's knees cut, or you have some type of illness, you need to get that checked. But as far as the religion is concerned, they played you the same way. They're programmed to program you, yes, like Agent Smith, to think that you are sick in order for you to seek help. You don't realize that you need help. They have to convince you that you need help. It's like a salesman that they have to convince you that you need their product. And then they show you videos, they show you pictures, and they show you with other people having a good time with their products in order to make you feel and or think that you need their product. And then, of course, over time, you end up using their product. That's the same at McDonald's. McDonald's is a wonderful company. I'm not talking bad about them, but let's talk about the reality of things. We don't really need McDonald's. They're not required. You can live without McDonald's. You understand? You can cook at home. You can go to a different restaurant. We don't really need McDonald's. They're not required. You're going to keep breathing without them. However, yes, they do create jobs, which is a good thing. But the matter of fact of it is this. Because they've been around for such a long time, and because other people have eaten their food, and because their food tastes good to some people, and the list goes on, and you've been convinced, or the society have been convinced that they are needed, they become multi-million-dollar company and spread all over the place because of the requirements or the vision of need by the people themselves, although they're not needed, like a placebo. However, the church purposely make you feel as if you need this so-called thing called a religion in order for you to seek out that religion by telling you you are a sinner and you were born in sin, you were shapen in iniquity, and you need to be baptized and born again. Now, we're getting ready to get busy, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be something that you're going to have to tighten up your belt, open up your mind, and listen to what I have to say. Because it's going to be quite interesting. If you don't want to accept it, that's on to you. That's up to you because it's your self-will. You know, sometimes we just need guidance somewhere. Because we don't like to think. That's the problem. We don't like to think. So we're going to start right there. And this is brought up by several viewers. There was plenty of, on my past few weeks, so-called religious people that were didn't like that I was telling the truth. And they need a little bit of guidance. They don't understand what it means to call a child a sinner. Yeah, we're going to get into that because that's basically what you're saying. To call a newborn baby a sinner that have nothing to do with your faults and your problems. When that child is born in your life, you program that child. You train that child. The child goes to school to understand what your environment is. So I'm going to break it down and show you the world's biggest lie. The church is the world's biggest lie. I'm going to explain that to you. This idea that you were born in sin and shapen in iniquity, I'm going to destroy it today. This idea that you need God because you are a sinner, because you just don't know how to do right. That's what the church does to you. I've explained it to you. They got to convince you that something's wrong. They got to bring awareness to you to convince you that you need help when your legs isn't bleeding or your knee and you don't have any health problems. Okay, and they're not really required. But in order for you to buy their product, in order for you to buy into their indoctrination, because that's what it is, they got to convince you that you need them. And I'm going to tell you how they do it. But let's destroy the story first. Let's talk about the very basic. Let's circle around this idea that you are born in sin and shapen in iniquity. Born in sin and shapen in iniquity. And that you are suffering, or you need to be brought back to God because of what Adam and Eve did. Okay? Because of Adam and Eve. Let me describe this. You're talking about the manufacturer plant here. You're talking about the beginnings of the beginning. So we're going to talk about the beginnings of the beginning. If you're born in sin and you shapen in iniquity, there is a problem behind it, and we're going to discuss it. Let's go down to the basics. Before we begin, keep in mind that you have a creator, right? There is a person who has a blueprint to what you have and what is going to be put on the table and brought to fruition. After the creator, what the creator actually uses is a workshop, or you could say a manufacturer plant, right? With the machines and with just all the necessary tools that he needs in order to build this creation from his mind, or from scrap, from metal, from aluminum, from wood, from plastic, oil, etc. Okay? And then after you have this, of course, you got the franchises, and you got the, what do you call that? The business end of it. But we're not talking about business here. We're talking about just very simple. Let's keep it basic. Then you got the customer who's going to buy this product after it's made, because it's going to end up in the customer's hands. Last place is the customer's hands. First place is the creator. From the creator to the blueprints to the manufacturer machine plant and other items that are put together, then it will ultimately end up, after packaging, of course, and being quality controlled and checked out, sent to the customer. So it's the creator to the customer's hands. Now, keep that in mind. If you are a sinner, keep that in mind. If you think you're a sinner, okay, you can be the smart Ralph the dog, and just go ahead and keep on thinking that you are, and that you need the help of this invincible deity that I just explained to you in the beginning of this audio, the devil's greatest trick. Okay? Because the angel is the devil and the devil is the angel. Some of you don't like that, but I'm going to explain it to you. So we have a national NTSB. We have an air system, air traffic control system for the airplanes. And before today, there has been multiple airplane crashes. I've discussed this before in my previous audios. And so there's a thing called investigation. They got an investigation unit. So they go through a numerous amount of issues. Now, let's go back to the basics. We're talking about Adam and Eve. Let's put Adam and Eve on the side, and let's talk about this. Meaning, they're right here with us, but the partition is on the other side. Compare this to Adam and Eve. Let me get your mind right. Think and get out of your feelings and start thinking. Okay? So what happens is this: when a aircraft crashes, right, and you have 300 people in this airplane who loses their life, it is definitely a terrible day and situation. Even if it's one person, it's still a terrible day and situation for the airplane, okay, the aircraft. So in investigation, they go through several channels where they want to figure out what caused this. Do you understand what caused this? Who is responsible for this airplane falling out of the sky? All right. So what you will understand is they would first try to figure out pilot error. Is there pilot error? How did this airplane fall? Let's find the pieces of this airplane. Can we find all four sides of this airplane? Did the wing fall off? Hold on here, ladies and gentlemen. Did the engines malfunction? Did the engine blades break? Was there ice on this aircraft? What was the weather looking like? Was the instrument panels failing? Did they roll the plane correctly? Was the pylon working correctly? Was the door sealed like it was supposed to keep from blowing off and blowing away? Was there any obstructions? Was there a explosive device in the cargo hangar? They will need to figure all of this out to figure out what the problem is. Was they at the right altitude? What was the communication between them and the air traffic control center? This is going to be everything in play. So when they go through every measure to figure out why this thing have failed, and when they find nothing from the pilot, when they find nothing from the external errors, what they do is start analyzing the internal mechanisms of the plane itself, like missing screws. If it was, of course, fueled up, that's another thing that they definitely check, if there was enough fuel in there, and so forth and so on. So what you're saying, let's go back to Adam and Eve, when you say you are a sinner, you're born in sin and shapen in iniquity. What you are saying, because I know a lot of us is uneducated, a lot of us just go by our programming, a lot of us are still connected to the wire in back of our heads. A lot of us just don't understand because we don't want to understand. A lot of us are just a lazy ass because we don't like to read and go to the library, and we don't know anything about history because we don't mind being mind washed. That's why we are the obvious modern zombie. You're walking around, but you're a zombie. You're a zombie in your thought patterns. I get it and I understand. But what you were saying is there wasn't a pilot error. The pilot has nothing to do with this airplane going down. What it is the manufacturing of this airplane, because in an investigation, they're going to want to figure out if it's the build of this aircraft. There's been plenty, if you do your history, I know you don't. There's been plenty of aircrafts that has been manufactured with flaws. Do you understand? With a flaw. So what has to happen is when the investigation comes back and they find out that there's a fault in the system, or it's built wrong by the creator, they're going to go to where that aircraft creator is. They're going to go to the manufacturer plant. They're going to go to the blueprints. They're going to go to those who have made the Rolls-Royce engine. Or Pratt and, what's the other name? The Pratt and Whitney. There's other names of the aircraft engines and things like that. They're going to go to those places where those airplanes have been built and say, you know what? Let's evaluate how you made this aircraft. Let's see if the fan blades and every other material that you have, if the seats are bolted down correctly, or if the door is manufactured with safety where it seals after the luggage handler locks it together. Let's figure out if you did the right thing. So what will end up happening is when they find a fault and your manufacturer built this airplane with a lot of defaults that caused it to fall out of the sky and kill an abundance of people, or eliminate them, and they're held at fault. What happens, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know what happens? Come on, you're those who think. Do you know what happens? Of course, not only do they have to pay a heavy fine, but they have to go back to the blueprint and start all over again. They got to rebuild that item. They got to rebuild what they, and especially if this is on an assembly line, like an automobile. No, the airplane's not really necessarily going to go like a huge warehouse where, 50 million of it built it one day. But you have to go back to the machines itself too. Another thing, when they're put together with the items that are faulty, they have to go even deeper to the machines that are riveting these items together, that are welding the metal to the plane. that's bending the metal, that's constructing the material that makes this aircraft. You understand? So here we are. I understand that a lot of you don't think, but let me help you think. If you got a problem, drink some coffee, take some Xanax or something. I don't know what the hell you need to do. Put something on to open up your brain, because as a zombie, understand your heart is not beating and your blood is not flowing to your brain. Do whatever it takes to start thinking. Okay? Most likely, if they find a fault in the machines that is generating or making this product, or you can say for an automobile, a car, they're going to have to calibrate the machine and or build another one if they have to. Because if the machine's at fault that is making this failure, then the machine have to be fixed, replaced, or rebuilt. Either or. So what ends up happening is, moving forward, hold on, let me get some adjuster here. Whatever that they build from that same factory, from that same warehouse, from that same assembly line will be different. It will be newer. It will be better. It will be fixed because of the previous failure that has cost lives. And those machines that used to rivet the item a certain way, or cut it a certain way, or even what do you call that, glaze it or elastic or whatever else that it has to do to keep this material bonded and together, it will not do that any longer because it was calibrated and are fixed. Now let's go back to Adam and Eve, because you're such a genius, because you're so smart. You are so smart. Let's explain this for you. Okay, yeah, for you. Let me explain it for you. What you are saying is, God, your so-called gesture that you pray to all the time, that you're saying is the God of Almighty. My God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and glory. My God is an awesome God. Let me say that again. This is what you sing. My God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and glory. My God is an awesome God. Wisdom, power, and glory. Wisdom, power, and glory. Stop right there. Wisdom, power means a moving force. Glory means you deserve the honor. You are performing at 100% or 120% sometimes if you need to. So if that's the case, my dear geniuses who are born from a strange, let me stop. If you're talking about you are born in sin and shaping in iniquity, and you need help from these indoctrinators called Agent Smiths, called pastors, pimps, in a form of pastors, okay, preachers, what you're saying is God did not fix the machine. God did not change, the manufacturer blueprint, but yet continue. Let me show you something. Let's get real with this. Let's go ahead and get real with this. Because that's all we can do is be real with this, okay? Check this out. How are you going to tell me that you are wise and you're all-knowing when the most dumbest thing you can do is when the investigators or the FBI tells you that your manufacturer plant is creating a very bad mechanism that's going to cause a fault in the aircraft that's going to cause it to crash again? You have to be the world's biggest idiot and dummy to keep manufacturing products of the airplane from this manufacturer plant that is known to fail. I didn't say you didn't know, known to fail. And a lot of you get it confused. You'll say, well, Adam and Eve, they were so perfect. They were perfect people. They didn't do anything wrong. Oh, they were so perfect where they was disobedient, but they were so perfect. Y'all so smart, it's funny. Sometimes when I hear a lot of you talk, if this was Dawn of the Dead, if this was the Night of the Living Dead, if this was the Day of the Zombies, a lot of you would not be here today. Yeah, I'm just being honest with you. You wouldn't be here today because you'll be just like the herd of people on Resident Evil that you're underneath the gate, y'all eating each other, right? You got your flesh hanging, some of your eyeballs are hanging from the side of your socket. You looking stupid like you usually do anyway. A group of you let me stop. There's somebody on top with a sniper rifle and they'll say, you know what? Pop, 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 pop. Because your mindset is that way. I'm not condoning violence. I'm just saying you're just like that. You're a herd of people who don't think for yourself. You don't have a mindset to what you're even talking about. Yeah, how could you possibly say some dumb stuff like that? Oh, my God's an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and glory. But yet you're going to keep manufacturing an airplane that you know is going to destroy people and take lives. But yet you love the world so much that you sacrifice your so-called son to prove what? That you're a loving person, but you continue to make a product that's going to destroy people, often from this manufactured plant. So therefore, here's the point of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, because I know some of you don't understand. I get it. Your brain ain't working. You don't comprehend it. So, what can I say? Forgive me that you don't understand. That's your problem. Figure it out. I cannot think for you. I can't make it happen for you, because if you come this far and you still thinking after 2,000, 3,000 something years that you are a sinner, you're done. You're done. You are exactly what I say. You're just a zombie. You don't think. You just go along with the flow. You just listen to what other people tell you. You don't want to know. You just want to believe. You don't want to know. You don't want the evidence. The evidence is what's around you. The evidence is if there's a car with a bad default that's destroying people, the manufacturer has to recall it, dummy. When Firestone made bad tires, they had to recall it, idiot. They had no choice. They were held responsible because they made it that way. Of course, they cleaned up their mess and they're like the #1 brand of tires now. But however, in that day, they had to change their blueprint. They had to fix their ways. But you, as the smart person, because you think you smart, consider yourself to be defaulted by failure from something that should have been fixed years ago. So what you're telling me is humans are smarter than God. That's what you're saying. What you're saying, if you say you are a sinner, humans are smarter than God. That's what you're saying. Because a manufacturer, if they are going to get sued, if they're underneath the gavel for creating poisons, medicine, or products that are deleting people, hurting people, the judge is going to call them to be dismantled, pay a heavy fine, and or redo what they are making and pay for the differences of the suffering that they have caused for the families and children. So the manufacturer is going to go back to the plant and they're going to fix their machines. They're not going to keep creating the failure from the same machine, smart ass. So if God was this great entity of intelligence that you say it is, because a lot of you, let me stop, because I'm going to start roasting. Wouldn't God have changed the manufacturer blueprint? Wouldn't it have went back to, and why would you be at fault for how he created Adam and Eve? That's Adam and Eve. You're not Adam and Eve. Our DNA is not the same. I don't know you. I don't have your social security number. I never even knew you. We don't talk to each other. We probably cross paths, but we don't know each other. I don't eat at your table. I don't sleep with your wives, and you don't sleep with my girls, and you never will. We don't act the same. You understand? When you touch a hot stove, I don't feel it. When you eat bad guacamole and you get diarrhea, I am not on the toilet like you are. You're on the toilet or by your own damn self. So why would you say that you are at fault or you are a sinner for what Adam and Eve did? Your first and last name isn't Adam nor Eve. I know some of y'all name is Adam, but you're not Adam itself, the beginning. Atum, one. You're not him. And you women, you're not Eve. Never even met the woman named Eve. But yet you're going to say you are a sinner because of what they done. You're saying God is stupid. That's what you're saying. Because how can a so-called wisdom or this powerful entity continue to make a failing product that's hurting people, knowing that it's doing that? And they're going to make you at fault. That's stupid. Listen, you know how ignorant that is to blame the pilot, knowing that it's not a pilot error, but it's the way that the aircraft is made? Why would NTSB, why would the air traffic control, why would safety bureau, why would the FBI blame the pilots for an aircraft that crashes when they automatically know that it's the airplane itself with faulty devices, with a faulty landing gear, faulty aft, faulty tiller, faulty everything? Why would they blame the pilot? Common sense would let the average dummy know that you got to fix the airplane or it's going to happen again. Why would they take the pilots and have them do extra training and stress them out and hurt them for what the airplane is doing? They get rid of the airplane. The airplane will be dismantled. It will be recycled back into aluminum all over again. There is no way possible that a God or your idea of God is going to cause you or call you to be a sinner based on something that's based on a blueprint from the manufacturer plant. That would mean that it has purposely made you faulty. It purposely wanted that to happen for the many lives to go up in the 3,000, feet or something like that in the air and come down with flames and metal. That's what you call a murderer. That's an evil person. And they got other names for that person. Starts with the terwambaba. Okay? People like that, you stay away from. So if you're talking about you are a sinner, you're saying that your so-called God of greatness is actually the devil itself. That's what you're saying. Because you'd say the same thing if somebody put I'm gonna put it like this, a clock on the airplane and it went up and poof, explosion. That person that did that, they are in prison and are dead. Okay? The investigators, the FBI, the police, the entire military will come down on that person for what they just done. Especially if they knew it was going to take lives. So if sin was that bad where you need to change your life all over again and relive and be born again, right? Oh, you're going to die because you're in sin. You better redo your life and believe in God all over again. Otherwise, you're going to perish forever. If it's that serious, how come it hasn't been fixed? And some of you, listen, shut your mouth. I hear you right now. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. I hear your comment. Well, well, he is fixing it. It's called the baptism. He is fixing it. That's why you got to go and pray. That's why you got to get the Holy Ghost, because he is fixing it. You don't even get the drift. You know what? Go to somebody else's channel. Leave. That's what you need to do right now. Just leave. Leave. Stupid. Just leave. Because you don't understand what I'm saying. Like I said before, a zombie can't understand. I get it. Your brain is twisted. There's no heartbeat. You're done. We don't need you over here anyway. Take your emptiness somewhere else. It'll make sense when you say something. It's not going to make sense for you to say something like that. No, it should have been done already. Not 2,000, 3,000 something years later when you exist over here in the 2020s. Life has been here before the 2020s. Cavemen have been here before the 2020s. People before your days of Christ have been here before the 2020s. The manufacturer should have fixed the problem years ago. You want to know what the catch is? It never existed. That's the key. It was never there. You want to know the key? You aren't and you never was a sinner. And on top of that, they had to get you lost in order to give you their indoctrination so you can start paying into the tithing and offering and the church becoming a business that you think it's something real. Because a God of wisdom, power, and love and glory and everything else that you think it is about this person would not have allowed something to be on a broken, defaulted, and failing manufacturer plant that's going to cause people to suffer in the future here in the 2020s. So if you consider yourself to still be a sinner, that's your problem. It's your free will. Like I said, I don't condone hatred. I don't condone what a person individually thinks and or feels. I'm here to state the facts and tell you exactly what it is. The sky is blue. The sky is blue. You know, you want to say the sky is red or purple. No, you're colorblind. I get it. Most zombies are. If the sky is blue, it's exactly what it is. You just don't want to accept that you've been indoctrinated since you was a child. And it's hard to question what you've been taught or spoon-fed when you was 2 or 3 years old because you don't know anything else. Talking about we are sinners and we reborn and shaping in iniquity. So a child is a sinner. You smart ass, that child was born into the parents' idea of life. Not as a sinner, as an innocent child. It knows nothing but what you teach it. Just like an AI computer, it knows nothing until you program it. Until you give it the images and you engineer this thing to know. It knows based on what you have programmed it to know. A computer's not going to know anything if nothing's imprinted or put into it. It's not going to all of a sudden know something about what's going on. It took human intervention. That's the same as this child talking about, oh, this child's a sinner, born and shaping in iniquity. Oh, so you want to say that? Oh, well, you know, because we're all born from Adam and Eve. Well, genius, how come it wasn't fixed by now? Well, because, it's because, God has a reason. Oh, yeah, same as that person that want to do harm to people. Have a reason to put that clock on the airplane and then it goes up and it deletes everybody on the airplane as it goes down in a ball of flame. Yeah, they had a reason too, genius. Your argument is null and dumb. It don't make sense. But I'll tell you what makes sense out of all this. If you want my take on it, I'm going to tell you what makes sense. What makes sense is y'all don't want to accept the reality. That's what makes sense. Because you can't. Your heart's not beating. Your brain's not working. I'll tell you what makes sense. You're just going by the programming. I get it. You're told these things. You're programmed with these things. But you are afraid to do your own research. You are afraid to go to the library. You're afraid to understand history for what you know it to be, not what you are indoctrinated for it to be. Not what you are told for it to be. You don't want to go and see it for yourself because I guarantee you, your mind will be blown if you do your research. Your mind will be blown if you go to Egypt. You've been around Egypt. You see the hieroglyph. You see how they manipulated Egypt. Your mind will be blown if you listen to good people like Ray Hagins actually tell you exactly what it is. Your mind will be blown if pastors actually told you the truth. If you know the type of colleges that they got to go to indoctrinate you. Your mind will be blown that it is not that the majority of them are anointed to teach you. They got to go to school to indoctrinate you. Your mind will be blown that they get certificates and certifications to know how to talk to you. Why would your own God need to learn how to talk to you? Wouldn't he know how to talk to you? He made you. That's like Elon Musk making a car and he don't know how it works. You know how stupid that is? He knows how his car works. He created it. He has a good idea. He's a CEO. He's all about it. Why would somebody bring a Tesla to Elon Musk and he look at it and say, I don't know what this thing is. Let me understand how to communicate with it. Where's the computer coming from? This battery, I don't get it. No, he's going to understand. So why would you sit up here and sit in a church and think that let me stop. Let me quit. I don't want this to be longer than what it needs to be. You should get the drift by now, and I'm not going to hold your hand because you are an adult. If you don't want it, it's your free will. I'm not here to indoctrinate you. I'm here to tell you the facts. And until next time, I talk about what's real. I don't talk about what's emotional. Like the video, share it, and subscribe it. Like it, share it, and subscribe it. Check out the Patreon. Check out that book, 2020's America Rise or Fall Hard by Leon C. Available on Amazon eBooks. If you don't get it, again, I really don't care. I just go on another fiesta. Maybe next time I'll just go for about a month. The more you don't subscribe and like, I'm going to go for 3 months until I shut the channel down myself. Trust and believe, it won't be YouTube. I'm going to shut it down myself. They don't even have to. Don't worry about it, YouTube. I'll shut it down. You don't want to support my channel? I'll just go away, nice, calm, and simple, because it really don't matter to me anyway. So you won't hurt me shutting it down. I might shut it down myself. Y'all don't like that I'm telling the truth? That's your problem. Fine. I'll keep it to myself because what does it matter? It's your life and your choice. I'm going to keep moving on. I'm going to be all right. But for you, you'll have to figure it out the hard way. You can't say nobody warned you, nor told you about anything like this.